Okay, we're going to talk about my formal evaluation, and it's covering it's covering standards 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. All right, I want to sit next to you so you can look through it. Okay, the first one for understanding learning, I said 3 for proficient because you were doing a great job understanding like how they are processing things and using what you know, like different strategies. Like we're not just doing videos, we're not just playing a game, we're doing all sorts of different things, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the next one, that you're meeting their needs in different ways. So you're doing like visual things and hands-on things, individual and group, to meet all different styles of learning. For readiness for learning, I think you have a very good grasp for a 3 for when they're ready to move on. Like even today with the game you did, you said, you know what, I already recognized it was a little bit too easy, so next time I know what I'm going to do different. That's part of being a good teacher. You have to be all over that. For developmentally appropriate instruction, you're definitely using strategies that are appropriate for them.
Okay.
And especially because with English, we do a very like cyclical unit plan or units. You're really like building on what they've done before, so it's not just surface level. Like I can't think of what we did on Tuesday with the different
we did conjunctions
with the different ones, and that was like a much higher level than before.
Okay.
Collaborating with families and others, you really honestly have not had that much of an opportunity to, because you started after conferences. You haven't had like an open house or anything like that. So I said like a 3, or a 2, or is it right? Oh yeah, 2. Just because you really haven't had an opportunity to, which is really tough. So you will when we have field trips. You've already sent a note home introducing yourself and doing things like that. But honestly, it was hard to grade that because you haven't really had an opportunity. So I can't say you've done a horrible job. Because you just haven't had the chance to. All right, so now we're on standard 2. Valuing students. I gave you a 4 on that. So you definitely are valuing with students and creating positive interactions between each other and with them. You know, like right off the bat, I remember complimenting you the first week. You already knew pretty much everyone's name, and that really helps you connect with them. For differentiated instruction, I gave you a 3. Doing a great job. Putting people either in differentiated groups for reading groups and for like different workshops, but also kind of mixing up different levels for them to help each other. With the things that you're doing for students with different learning needs, I said 3 proficient, because you're definitely making accommodations. You know, like certain students are sitting in the back because you know that they need to wiggle more. Some students are in the front because they need to see better and not have distractions. For multiple perspectives, again, with English language learners, that was a really tough to grade you on because you don't have any English language learners. And I guess there hasn't been any lessons that develop from the multiple perspective of families.
And we don't really have that diverse of a class.
I know. That's why I kind of put like
similar families.
I know, that's what I said. That's why I wrote like I gave a grade and stuff. It's kind of like it's applicable. Okay, so for standard 3, learning environments. Again, that kind of goes hand in hand with the other one. Collaborating for a safe, positive learning environment. We have I completely agree. You do with students. Again, you haven't really had a chance to collaborate as much with families. So I did the 2 and the 3 because that one was a tough one. Student-centered classroom. Absolutely, they are set up in places that they can collaborate with each other for we do. They're facing the front for learning. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the next one. That the classroom is set up so to maximize their learning. They're facing the front, but they're in the pairs for redos. For verbal and nonverbal communication. I said 4, doing a great job. using verbal and nonverbal communication to show respect for all of them. You certainly treat them all like they're equal. For use of technology, the only reason I said 2 was because they haven't used technology as much.
Right.
You have.
Yep.
So I know it's tough when we only have like a few iPads,
Yeah.
but hence the reason for the 2.
Yep.
And for lesson for standard 4, representation and explanation, you definitely use explain things many different ways, and you do a good job of, like, a student will raise their hand and say it in a different way that you acknowledge and say, yep, that's great, that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. And building on students' prior knowledge. You do a great job linking what they've learned before. You start out many lessons saying, I know you've done this with homophones, or you watched this video on this with Miss Busker. Here, let me show it to you again.
Okay.
Now we're going to work with it.
Okay.
So that was a
Cool.
4.
Thank you.
Yep. Do you have any questions about what I said?
I don't think so. Just, I guess, more ways that we can try and use technology. I mean, personally, I don't really love using it, but
yeah.
other than like the videos in the beginning, I really enjoy using those, but I just find it, I don't know how to better use it during like English lessons and stuff like that. Obviously for math workshop and stuff, we use it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's hard because we have 5 iPads we can use, but 17 kids. So it's really hard to even can't even split them in half, and half use iPads and half not.
Yeah.
So when you think of a way, like maybe a lesson that they go down to a computer lab and we sign it out, and then they all do something on the computer because they all have one.
Yeah.
It's something that, being like a small school, we don't have insane amounts of technology.
Right.
Like we have the Elmo, not everyone even has an Elmo in their classroom.
Yep.
So you have to be proactive on it because you can't just have it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's all the questions I have.
Okay.